On today's video, we're going to talk about the 3 different types of fake IDs that are out there that you need to be paying attention to, starting right now. Hey everybody, this is Perry from BouncerTipsTV.com. I'm a nightlife security professional as well as director of security at a large Phoenix nightclub. Here at Bouncer Tips, we talk about tips, tricks, and we talk about the tools that we use here in the nightlife security industry. If this is the type of content that you're interested in, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also make sure you hit that little notification bell so you get updates of future content. Now today it's going to be a quick little video on the 3 different types of fake IDs that are commonly out there that you need to be aware of and you need to know what to look for. So let's get into it. The very first type of fake ID that's out there is what I like to call a manipulated document, or a document that has been changed in some sort of way. This is a document that is a legitimate document to start out with, and they've actually cut out or manipulated some of the printing on the document itself to make it look like a different person, a different age, a different date, those type of things that they'll actually physically manipulate. And typically these type of IDs were very common several years ago, but as technology has gotten a little bit better, these are less and less common that you'll see where somebody's able to manipulate the documents, because they've added so many different features into the new IDs that are out there that this type of forgery or fake document is very difficult for people to get past. So if you want to learn more about those features that are out there, make sure you click this video right here. I've gone through and broke down some of the most common features on those IDs. This is what's preventing these forged documents from being put into place and makes it easier for you to detect those if they do come across them. The second type of fake ID, and the one that is most common out there, is the manufactured ID. And what the manufactured ID is, a company or a entity somewhere out there takes information that's provided by the purchaser. They'll take their address, they'll take date of birth that they want to have on it, they'll take their photograph, and they'll actually create a document that is designed to mimic the document that's provided by the state government or federal government. Now, as a bouncer, you really need to be aware of what the features are on the legitimate document, so you can compare what the features are on the legitimate document to the one that's being presented to you. A lot of times these manufacturers do a great job at a lot of the features that are on a state or legitimate state ID, and you need to make sure that when you're checking these IDs, you're checking multiple features out to make sure that it is a legitimate document. Some do a great job at a lot of the features, but most of the time there's a tell on every single fake ID that the manufacturer struggles with. It may be the best UV graphic, for whatever reason they struggle with the microprinting. So you need to be aware of what all the features are to detect these type of fake IDs. And what you need to do is make sure you have the proper tools to do it. So I'll link down in the comment section. What I'll do is I'll put UV flashlights that I strongly recommend you have, and I'll also put a magnifying glass that you should be carrying with you to identify these features on these fake IDs. Again, these are some of the most common IDs that you're going to find out there. There are some certain ways that you can identify these. The very first one is by doing a bend test. Make sure that the laminate stays in place. That is one common thing that you'll find on a lot of these manufactured documents, that the laminate or the way that they put the adhering front on the ID itself will have problems, and when you do that bend test, it will separate from the background of the ID. Another thing is microprinting seems to be a big issue with a lot of these manufacturers, getting the microprinting exactly right. That's why you need that magnifying glass to help you out. And the third most common thing is the laser cut engraving. A lot of the manufacturers are able to provide that. However, you're going to be able to see that they're not going to be able to do it as precise as what the state or federal government is going to be able to do. And you need to look at those areas. So there's a little bit about the second type of fake ID that you'll need to be aware of. The third type of fake ID that's out there is the false credential. And the false credential is an ID that is a legitimate ID. It's one that's manufactured by a government. The only thing is, it's somebody else trying to pass that document off as that person that's on the document. This is a common situation in a lot of college bars. Somebody's had their older sister or a friend that looks very similar to them. Those are the type of things where somebody will pass an ID off to somebody else. You're going to need to use the ID process to find these type of IDs. For example, you really want to make sure that you're honing in and looking at this area right here on somebody's face to make sure that that area is clearly the person that's on there. You're going to look for identifying features on the document. For example, you're going to look at teeth, you're going to look at ears, you're going to look at all the different things that make up that picture to make sure that the features are on that ID and it's matching up with the right person. Another thing that you can do is you can quiz the people on some of the information that's out there. For example, what I'll typically do is I'll start off by looking for some sort of key on the ID. For example, I'll ask what their address is. I'll ask them to give me their address. And as soon as they're done with that, I'll ask them, what's your date of birth? And then I'll switch it up again and change it up just so that I keep them off balance. And if it's not them and it's not the legitimate ID that they're presenting, it will throw them off a little bit and hopefully trip them up enough to know that that's not the right person on the ID. So this was just a quick little video that I wanted to put together, and I want to do these more consistently. I want to call these Wildcard Wednesdays, where I talk about just a small little topic, something that is just something that is food for thought. It may involve everything in the bouncing community, or I just might be random thoughts that I have that are going on that week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to learn more about the nightlife security industry, click this link right here, and you've just been taken beyond the ropes. Have a great day, everybody.